Exciting guest today as women's basketball head coach Robyn Fralick joins the show for segments 2 and 3. But first, hey, a trio of Spartans are on the College Football Hall of Fame ballot. And what? Jaren Jackson Jr. actually wanted to come back for a sophomore year? All right, let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you so much for tuning into today's show. Today's show is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege. And when you enter promo code LOCKEDONCollege, that's all one word, LOCKEDONCollege, hey, they will throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. It's my favorite piece of drinkware, really, and the shorts are amazing. But enough of that for now. Hey, gang, thank you so much for tuning into Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white, 3 days a week. I'm only going to mention that 1 or 2 more times to kick off shows. But yes, typically 10 months out of the year, 5 days a week, but just for 2 months in June and July. 3 days a week. We'll drop it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But if anything breaking, drops, like anything that's on the level of like the Live and the PGA Tour combining, yeah, we're not going to sit on that. We'll just add a 4th show to the week. But yes, you could always count on us for at least 3 shows here during June and July. And then when August comes around, yeah, the cinder block is back on the gas pedal. We are going 0 to 100, 5 days a week. All right, just like we said, head coach Robyn Fralick here in a hot second. But first, we're just going to tie up some news and notes in the Michigan football and basketball realm here. And first and foremost, hey, a trio of Spartans found their way on the ballot for the 2024 College Football Hall of Fame class. Now, there are 78 players and 9 coaches from the FBS, and then an additional 101 players and 32 coaches coming from the lower divisional ranks as well. But these are all going to be names that you know when it comes to Michigan State. We got Mark Dantonio. I can go up and down about his resume, but we only have so much time on this show, and odds are you guys already know everything there is to be known about the great Mark Dantonio. We also got Darryl Rogers here as well. He, as a coach, found success at Fresno State, San Jose State, Michigan State, and Arizona State as well. His best season at the helm for Michigan State was 1978. First place in the Big Ten that year, and 8-3 overall, but did really good work at all 4 of those schools I just named. And then Flozell Adams, the only former player from Michigan State on this year's ballot. 1997 Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year, and it did not stop there for Mr. Adams. He went on to be a 5-time Pro Bowler. There we go. So, yeah, just a little bit of fun there, but there is a more specific Michigan State tie-in. And unless I'm missing something, maybe something's completely glaring when it comes to the Ring of Honor in Spartan Stadium, but I'm almost positive that it's an unspoken rule that you have to be in the College Football Hall of Fame to have your name in the Ring of Honor. I believe everyone up there is in the College Football Hall of Fame. I mean, there was a reason why Lorenzo White, for as amazing of a player he was, arguably the best player at Michigan State University, had to wait until 2019 to get his name on the Ring of Honor. He was not enshrined in the College Football Hall of Fame until 2019. And then, well, when that September rolled around, the football season, that is when he saw his name go up there. So this means something for Flozell Adams. This could mean something for Mark Dantonio, should he have his name in the Ring of Honor. But let's spin it to a common conversation topic here when it comes to Mark Dantonio, what he's meant to this program, and also some other coaches as well. We can throw Darryl Rogers in the mix as well, but also Biggie Munn, Duffy Daugherty, the statue talk. There are not a lot of statues on the campus of Michigan State. You got your Sparty statue. You got your John C. Hanna statue, I believe it is, outside the administration building. Your Magic Johnson statue. I think that's it. There are no statues outside the football building that commemorates a coach or a player. Would love to see that change. We've talked about this a few times in months or years past on this show. God, we've been doing this for a while, but let's rehash this right now. I think that if they do get enshrined in the College Football Hall of Fame as a coach, I think you got to erect that statue outside of Spartan Stadium. And I don't think it should just be Mark Dantonio. I mean, God, Biggie Munn, he only won 2 national championships. I mean, yeah, that should absolutely get you a statue outside of Spartan Stadium. Or Duffy Daugherty, 4-time national champ. He helped segregated the game. You know the history there. So, yes, I think a trio of those 3 wouldn't hurt. Who's going to argue against that? Heck, make it 4 if you want to throw Darryl Rogers up there. Didn't have a national title, but, solid coach. But, yes, if it was up to me, I would have Munn, Daugherty, and then Dantonio up there. And then I've also mentioned this in a podcast before, but that Mark Dantonio statue, wherever you put it, it would make more sense in the south end of the stadium because I think that he should be facing Indianapolis. I think that is where, when they put the statue up, that's where his body should face because, well, that's where he made some of his greatest memories there. Beating Ohio State in 2013 and then the Iowa game in 2015, of course. Or, hey, if you love the Rose Bowl more than those 2 combined, just face him towards Pasadena. I think that would be a nice mark. Or just have his back facing Ann Arbor. Or, no, forget that. No, have him just facing squarely Ann Arbor. You got a lot of good choices there. I mean, the guy only went 8-5 against them. So there you have it. Just wanted to wrap all that up before getting into some Jaren Jackson Jr. talk. That's right. How about that on a nice June weekday here? But hey, he went on Paul George's podcast called Podcast P and made a lot of waves, spoke about Ja Morant, all that good stuff. But us Spartan fans are really honed in on this soundbite from Jaren Jackson. He said that during the draft process, he didn't read the draft boards. All right. You know what? Believe him if you want to. Don't believe him if you do. But this story kind of makes me believe that he truly did not read any of the draft boards because he said, quote, I was going to come back to school and I was signing up for classes. And then who calls Jaren Jackson Jr.? It's Draymond Green. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. did say that his only relationship with Draymond Green would just be playing pickup basketball with him whenever he came back to state, but didn't truly know the guy. But Draymond Green, on Izzo's wishes, this is the important part, on Tom Izzo's wishes, Draymond Green called Jaren Jackson Jr. and said, what are you doing? What on earth are you doing thinking of coming back to Michigan State? So, look, a lot of us state fans know this, but you got all the naysayers around the program that are, quite frankly, just jealous of the great thing that Izzo has going on here the last 2.5 decades and say, oh, he forces his kids back to school. He holds them back. Well, tell me how reaching out to Draymond Green to let Jaren Jackson know he's an idiot because might resonate a little differently hearing from a multi-time NBA champ still in the league than it would be your head coach. But yes, there is a reason that, and this goes beyond Jaren Jackson, that he pushes kids to go to the NBA draft, even just to get looked at. It's long believed that A.J. Hoggard didn't even want to go through the process, but still kind of pushed him there anyway, just to see what he would hear. So we already know this, but Jaren Jackson says, quote, if you go to that school, it's an automatic family. I mean, this is just evidence number 9,863 here of what makes Michigan State's basketball program unique and family-oriented. And, well, it's a good thing Draymond Green gave him that call because, hey, as much fun as it would have been in that following season, for Jaren Jackson specifically, okay, top 4 pick that year, signed a $104 million guaranteed contract after his $30 million entry contract. And when that $104 million guaranteed contract is up, guys, he's going to be like 26 or 27. Should he stay healthy and continue playing at the level that he is, he's going to be astronomically wealthy in the game of basketball and got a 1-year head start on all that. Thanks to Draymond Green, who, thanks to Tom Izzo, gave him that call. So really thought that was interesting. But also, hey, let's not kid ourselves here. This makes the what-if game a little interesting. What would have happened that 2018-19 season? Of course, the Final Four season. Okay, Cassius, starting point guard. You got Matt McQuaid. You have Langford / Aaron Henry. Langford went down with that injury, of course. And then Xavier Tillman at the 4 and Jaren Jackson at the 5. But that means Goins is coming off the bench. Nick Ward's definitely coming off the bench. Or does Tillman slide to a bench role? I highly doubt that. It would have been a good problem for Tom Izzo to have of how he was going to balance that lineup. But, yeah, that is a tough one to look at. Unless you want to do what I do and just look at 2019 anyway. and just say, well, yeah, they still won the regular season Big Ten title. They still won the Big Ten tournament title against Michigan. And oh, yeah, that's right. They still went to a Final Four after winning one of the most historic Elite Eight games of all time. Guys, I know that Jaren Jackson maybe would have really elevated Michigan State, but if that is your consolation prize, Big Ten title, Big Ten tournament title, and a Final Four banner, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over that. I'm sorry. I'm going to take that consolation prize and call it a day. All right, let's get to women's basketball coach Robyn Fralick here in a hot second. But first, gang, need to talk your ears off about Bird Dog shorts. We've already talked about this wonderful Yeti style tumbler, which we will get to, but it's time to talk about the actual product because this is a summer I am now thriving in thanks to Bird Dogs. These are the best shorts I've ever put on these thighs in my entire life. Just on the inside, I got the pairs with the liner in them. It's like a compression short that you're just wearing all around, but they also look great. They are versatile. You can go to the grocery store. You can then do your yard work, then get a workout in, then go to happy hour, and then go to your kid's soccer practice, all in the same pair of shorts. They feel great. They look great. These bad boys are versatile. And when you go on their website, that's right, birddogs.com/lockedoncollege. Don't keep it to just the shorts. They got some pants for you as well. So go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege and enter promo code lockedoncollege. Again, that's all one word, lockedoncollege, for a free Yeti style tumbler with your order. Gang, that's birddogs.com/lockedoncollege for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. All right. Now let's get into the mix here with the 6th head coach of women's basketball at Michigan State, Robyn Fralick. Let's go. Folks, I can't believe it. I mean, we did it again. We got a big guest, a guest that has been in plenty of headlines the last 2 months, ever since she was named the 6th head coach of MSU women's basketball. Look at this. It's Coach Robyn Fralick. Coach, how on earth are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining.
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, of course. So look, you have the big task at hand of revamping MSU women's basketball. No question about that. But before that, probably the most pressure-filled event that I could possibly imagine is taking place for you this Sunday at Comerica Park. You are throwing the first pitch on Sunday in front of thousands of fans. How are we feeling right now for that? Let's just get the important stuff out of the way. How are we feeling for the first pitch right now?
Well, I have done it a few times before, but never at a stadium or at, the level of the Detroit Tigers. But I will say I have thought a lot about, I just think it's hilarious that it's honorary, we put people on a mound and, just sort of judge them and try to evaluate like how good they are. It's hilarious to me. I mean, I could just go out there and wave my hands and smile and it'd probably be all the same, but instead, it puts a little extra pressure, a little extra, I've been practicing. I have my son's going to be 10 in a few weeks, and he loves baseball. So we've been bouncing back and forth. They haven't moved here yet. They'll be moving here hopefully in the next month or so. And last night, actually, he's like, Mom, we got to go practice. Like, he is as, if not more concerned for me than I probably am for myself. So he's been counting out the steps. He's been really trying to help me get prepared for the moment.
Has a little part of you thought like, hey, if I have like a horrible pitch, it goes viral? Because no one ever is remembered for the good pitches. If you throw it like on the backstop, like is any press good press for Michigan State women's basketball? Has that entered your mind at all? Or are you
I'd be trying to avoid that press. Okay. But, do our best and see what happens.
Yeah. If it goes awry, that's our plan B. We'll help spin it in a positive light for you guys. But no, on to the actual important things. Just incredible to have you as part of the just MSU athletics culture. Now you come from a culture of winning, of course. Did amazing work at Bowling Green State. Did just incredible work at Ashland. I mean, God, only 3 losses in your tenure there? I mean, so first of all, welcome to Michigan State, or welcome back, I guess, because you're from Okemos. You did play at Davidson, but this has to feel like a bona fide homecoming for you, right?
It does. I went to Okemos High School, born and raised here, loved it. It's a wonderful place to grow up. I went and played at Davidson College. And then since Davidson, I've lived away. I've lived in a lot of different places, getting a chance to coach. In the coaching world, a lot of times you can end up all over. And so I've been fortunate. I've always been able to come back as a visitor since I graduated from high school, but now it's really cool with a family, my own family, to be able to come back as a resident.
And your family, they kind of grow up, like your two young kids, they grow up State fans so far since you've been bouncing around, not so much. What's that been like?
Diehard.
Okay,
State.
there we go.
Yeah, my husband's a diehard State fan. My son is, he is all in. He, like I shared, he's going to be 10 in a few weeks. He's really into statistics and numbers. So during season, he's always on the ESPN app looking at the percentage chance, for Michigan State to win. And he loves when it changes. Like, Mom, why did it go up 6% from yesterday? So yeah, they're really excited to be here as well.
Who was the most excited? What was it? You, the one that actually got this position, or was it one of the kids or your husband? Who was most excited in the Fralick household?
I think collectively we were all really excited, but I always share there is a emotional continuum when you take a new job, because we loved Bowling Green.
Sure.
We really, we poured our heart and soul into that program. We were very invested in the community. But I always think when you do it right, that's how it should feel. Same thing when we left Ashland to go to Bowling Green. I bawled my eyes out. So, when you do it right, you should have a really sticky connection to the place that you are. So very bittersweet. It's been hard to say goodbye. But I also know when we all get here and get settled in, we're going to be really excited.
And I'm just curious what that first week is like after you're announced as the head coach of Michigan State. Because obviously, I'm sure your phone is like melting with like texts and phone calls, whatever. But like, there's a job to do. So like, what is that first week like? Do you get minutes of sleep? Do you get hours of sleep? Like, what? Just walk us through that whole whirlwind for you.
Well, it's wild. So we at Bowling Green, we played 38 games this past season. 38 games is a lot of games. So we were playing. We played in the WNIT Final Four, which is really around the same time as the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. So that's really late and deep to be playing. So we had a really long, fun season. So after a season that long, there's just a part of like recovering, because there's just so much that goes in emotionally that goes into a season. But, that kind of got pivoted, with the new job. So taking the new job, I think, immediately you're just right into, okay, talking to the current team, figuring out the roster, who's going to be here, who isn't, who do we need. So that's a really quick turnaround, because honestly, most of the coaches and teams had been done playing for a month, so we had played really a month longer than most teams. So it was a quick turnaround, but exciting. And, when we got here, we just kind of like, all right, my staff had all worked together at Bowling Green for the past 5 years. So we have all come in together to a new place. So you just know the amount of work it takes, and you got to get on it.
And of course, when you go from Bowling Green to Michigan State, were there any names in the Michigan State athletic department that really helped like onboard you, or really just made you feel at home right off the bat in that first week?
Well, our administration here has been great. There's so many people that want to help, are willing to help, want to be a support, want to be able to answer questions. So I felt like we were very supported across the board. Administratively, you think of media relations, Megs, who's been the administrative assistant. She's been here through Coach McCauley, and she was with Coach Merchant as well. So she was really helpful in just kind of understanding the context and the groundwork here. And then, recently I got a chance to really chat with Coach Izzo, who's, he is MSU. He knows the most, right? He's been here and had so much success. So got to talk with Coach Johnson. It's a really supportive group of people. So that has definitely helped with the transition.
And just looking at the job ahead, because right at the top I said in charge of the Michigan State revamp. I don't want to use rebuild, because it's not like it's in dire straits. But like, how do you just look at the task at hand here? What word would you put on this task?
Yeah. Well, Coach Merchant was here 16 years and did an excellent job, really, with the team, the program, the community. She did so much for Michigan State women's basketball. But coming in, the transition these days always looks different, because there's the portal.
Yep.
There's NIL, there's all these different moving parts. Like when I took over at Bowling Green, there wasn't the portal. So the team when you walk in is the team that's there. It's very different than now. So there's some transitional things. I think with, there's kids who were in the portal before they even announced a new head coach. So the roster management, that just looks different, especially with a new coach coming in. So yeah, I think that the biggest piece is, wherever we've been really consistent with what we're about culturally, and how we play. And those things they never happen in a day, but they happen every day.
Yep.
So, I think we just have an everyday mentality of, okay, this is who we are and this is what we're going to work on and this is what we're going to be every day. And then over time, you can see how that begins to evolve.
And as we're at like the halfway point of this chat, let's just do the halftime show of the most awkward question possible, because it's awkward talking about yourself. But hey, this is the fun we like to have here on Locked On Spartans. Why do you think Michigan State hired you? What part about you and you as a coach was the reason they brought you home to East Lansing? If you like that question. I mean, we could do this all day. I got awkward ones.
Yeah.
All up and down.
Well, I feel grateful that they did. I mean, I know there's lots of qualified candidates and there's a lot of great coaches out there. I think there's probably a combination of, at Bowling Green, I've had two experiences. One where I was an associate head coach and slid over a spot, and we were able to have a lot of success. And then at Bowling Green, we came into a program that had a great tradition, but had recently really struggled. I mean, really struggled. And so that's a different task, right? I went from sliding over a seat to, okay, we're coming into a program that has a great tradition, but right now really needs a lot of work to kind of get back to where we think we can get. So I think those experiences help. I think my experience in this region, I've been recruiting the Midwest my whole time coaching. That's kind of been where we've been tracked. We've recruited strong in this region, and we feel like, Michigan State, that's something we want to be able to continue to do at a high level. And I don't know if being from here is a factor or not, but for me, it's cool. I know it's a great place to raise a family. So I don't know why, but I do know that I'm really grateful. And I do know there's a lot of very good coaches. But I think I've had two different experiences as a head coach, and this will be a third one. So it'll be another new challenge.
Yeah. And you mentioned in your introductory press conference that, of course, you went to Michigan State games as you were growing up. Has it really hit you that, wow, you are now commanding the program that you used to watch as a kid? Or has that even still taken time to, truly settle in? Because I can only imagine, just the gravity of that situation. But has that really hit you yet?
I think it'll sink in the first home game.
Okay.
Where you kind of look around and savor that moment. Interestingly, my very first game as a head coach at Bowling Green, we played at Michigan State. So the very first game I coached as a head coach at Bowling Green was at Michigan State, which, everyone's like, is it so cool you're coming home? I'm like, we needed to get a lot better. So I don't know if it was.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it has, I feel like every day. And I think once my family gets all settled here too, it'll feel even more real.
Yeah. No question. During that first game, by the way, do you want any of us listeners, viewers, to walk you down a Melting Moments ice cream sandwich during the game? Would that be appreciated, or is that a distraction?
Halftime snack. Yeah. I mean, I remember that was my favorite part of going to games. I mean, and does anyone else in the world sell anything like that at a game? I mean, it feels so signature to me.
It is. If they do, it's like a knockoff version. It's just not the same here.
It's not. It has to be homemade cookies.
Melting Moments. Yeah. Oh, gosh, so good. So good. All right, we'll try to hook you up then. At halftime, we'll either throw one down or hopefully hand you one. I'm sure security will have no issue with that whatsoever. As you get closer to the season here, I mean, and you're already 2 months in, so maybe some of this has already happened, but what is the number one task for a head coach when you do step into a head coaching role? Is it all right, let's flip the culture. Let's just install offensive and defensive principles? Is it getting to know the players? What is on top of that very long list of duties for a new head coach?
People. It's people. It's hiring a staff. It's really getting to know the team. It's recruiting. It's all people. I think that's the biggest thing when you take over new. And then I actually think that continues to be the biggest thing, is just making sure there's real connection amongst our staff, amongst our team. there's no fast way to really, really get to know each other, but there can be an intentionality in that every day. And then the recruiting piece is people too. So that's where we put our energy.
And I got a potentially stupid question, but hey, you know what? I like to do this during interviews as well. You talked about the administration and how they've just been very supportive. Everyone around you supportive of the women's game. Is it common in the industry, whether it's just like chatter you have amongst other coaches, for like maybe some coaches don't feel like their administration or athletic department take women's basketball as seriously as all the other sports? Is that like a quote unquote, I guess, problem in that whole atmosphere, or is it kind of not really an issue?
So everywhere I've coached, there's been great support for women's basketball.
Okay.
I was a head coach at Ashland, and our gyms were packed.
Gotcha.
At Bowling Green, the last 2 home games were sold out. So
there we go.
I just feel like in Michigan State, there's been great support from women's basketball. And, Susie was here before, and I know she did a lot to build that and really got into the community and had great teams. But that's something that's always mattered a lot to me, because I think a student athlete experience, a big part of it is how much people care, right? When you play somewhere where there's a real emotional attachment and a real enthusiasm for supporting the team, I just think your experience changes. So that'll be something that continues to be important for us.
That's what I love too about, the press conferences that you did, when you're being introduced, is just how much community you talked about. It's not just university, but everywhere around. Like, let's get the future Robyn Fralick in the stands as well. So, definitely. Hopefully the community will energize you, I'm sure, because women's basketball, in my opinion, is as popular nationwide as it ever has been. Is that crazy, or is that true? Is it true that it is? Okay.
It is. It's as good as it's ever been, and part of it is there's just been more opportunities for women. Part of it is there's been more eyes on it. We've had way more publicity around it. We've had way more opportunities to be seen. So, we're definitely on the track to keep that going, because these women deserve this. They deserve these opportunities they're getting.
I watched more of the women's tournament than I ever have my entire life, and it was
great
electric this
basketball.
year. Of course, it was amazing, and just the electricity, all the storylines around it too was amazing. And then, you get hired as coach, and we see your resume. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome! Michigan State's about to be in the fold here as well. So, really, just thrilled to have you here, Coach. But before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your week and get more practice in for this first pitch, who's going to win the NBA Finals here? Just hit us.
Interesting. So I was feeling very pro Denver. Both teams are really good. I think Denver, the Joker is such a unique player, such a hard matchup, and then Miami, I think, surprised all of us last night. And they've done that the whole playoff. So at some point we should probably no longer be surprised.
Right.
I have a real soft spot for Miami, because I just think I love that they're a team at the highest level that is winning games through playing team basketball, embracing roles, underdogs, chip on their shoulder, whatever it takes. They literally are like whatever it takes to win team. And when you can get a team at the highest level, these guys are the pros. To play like that, to act like that, to think like that, that's really special. Now, I share all of that. I do think Denver's going to win the series. But I have a real soft spot for Miami, because I just love watching teams that operate at the highest level of being a team.
Yeah, no, they've been incredible. And all right, so I'll bet on the Nuggets, because I've lost a lot betting against the Heat for that very reason. I keep on doubting them, stupidly enough, as they're already in the finals. But okay, I'll take your advice here. That's how we're going to get all those winnings back here. But Coach, thank you so much for your time. This has been an awesome chat. Best of luck this weekend. Is there anything else that you want to add before we let you go enjoy the rest of your week here?
No, all good. I just think go green.
Hey, go white. There we go. Absolutely love it. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Coach. Really do appreciate you.
Thanks, Matt.